The talk you will come to know why I am quite happy to be with Professor Gopal Naik. Within a month of some important event happened in his hometown. Okay, so when Water Day or Forest Day is celebrated, it's only to remind us that we need to manage that for the future. So if we can sustain that for the next generation, we have done our job. That's where professionals like Lingaraju and all are working towards that. When we talk about water bodies, the wetlands, when you manage it, you have the water security. When you have water security, you have food security. And if you don't pollute, you have a clean water with less health issues. And also there is a happiness. Where there is a prosperity, there is naturally the... But for managing the resources, I strongly feel the decision makers have to be environmentally literate. My study shows in Bangalore, general literacy is as high as 85.8% next to Mumbai. But environmental literacy of Bangalorean is only 3.5%, which means 96% are still learn and understand the environmental concepts. Okay. Now, to drive home the decision makers, I thought that earlier the data was not there. Because of that, there is a problem of management. So we developed a decision support system so that you can, which we launched about a week back. So this is about Bangalore Lake Information System, BLISS. You can visualize the lakes in Bangalore, the physical, chemical quality as well as the biological quality. You can find out which fish occurs in that, what kind of algae occurs there, and also if you want to look at who all encroached the lake or how much encroachment has happened, even that data I am going to make it available. So after that, if you don't see me, you can imagine what would have happened. Okay. So then of course, then what are the things are the efficacy of restoration? We did auditing of some of the lake which are rejuvenated over a last decade. We have looked at what are the gaps in that. Okay. At the end, if time permits, I will go to that online and show you that. Okay. As I said, our agenda is to sustain the resources. Okay. Now, if you want to sustain, you have to manage it. That is where the nature principles are required. So now, with that introduction, I will come to the Bangalore. The last 1 month, people are talking more about water. Now, all of a sudden, people have realized that water is an important commodity. Till then, they didn't know that. While going in a car, they used to throw the polythene bags containing the waste material into the water bodies. Now, the same people have to drink the water, the same water, what they have polluted. In fact, yesterday somebody asked me, if we leave the treated water to the lakes, can the people use it? You can understand the severity of the situation, and if this continues, I think we have a serious health issues also. When you look at the landscape of Bangalore, which is about 740 square kilometer, when you look at historical record, in this landscape of 740 square kilometer, we had 1,452 water bodies and about 80% green cover. Because of that, in 1800 May month, the temperature of the city was 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. The pleasant climate. And we also, in December, we had few days 0 degrees Celsius. And we were growing apples in Palace Orchard, closer to my institute. That's what the Gazetteer talks about it. But today what we grow is the waste and waste people. Okay? Then we have 193 water bodies and most of them are polluted. And the city, which was a garden city, transformed into garbage city, and today is a dead city. In 90s, when I was quite young, one of the chief ministers was talking about Bangalore making it a Singapore. Naturally, I was also excited. But I noticed that there is a place called Singapura, which was used for dumping the solid waste. But his vision, I never thought he will create entire Bangalore into Singapura. Now when I see that every ward littered with the waste, I feel how Singapura plan has worked. Okay, coming back to the subject, Bangalore has an interconnected lake system. Earlier river was passing. Our elders just put the punt. Some people come up with a theory saying that there are no natural water bodies in Bangalore. I do not know what that statement means. It was a natural water, we just put the bund. And that is how we converted the lotic ecosystem into lentic ecosystem. And now let's look at the money part of it. Because I am giving a talk in IIM, I thought let me talk about money also. So we look at the services, the provisioning, regulating and cultural services. For your information, natural capital accounting and valuation ecosystem services, the United Nations Commission study I did it for Karnataka, which include the forest, then the agriculture ecosystem, and we included aquatic ecosystem also, which shows the worth of our natural ecosystem. The unfortunate part of the GDP is gross domestic product is non-inclusion of the environmental degradation cost in the development. So that's where there is a problem. That's where we are insisting the government to have a green GDP which takes into account the degradation cost. If you have to account it, then you need to do the value of the ecosystem, which is done by quantifying provisioning services, the regulating services and cultural services. Provisioning services include the tangible benefit you get in the form of fish, the fodder, then the water, etc. While the regulating services is the carbon sequestration, then the microclimate moderation, etc., bioremediation. Then the cultural services is the recreation. So now, see, when the town or a city is planned earlier, people used to plan for the port, you used to have the protection from the desert, and we used to have the water body, which, both security of the people and security of the water security was ensured with that. But today when we look at the water bodies, we think about the Lakeview apartments, etc. So that is the tragedy. So now let us try to understand the groundwater recharge in Bangalore. People say that hard rock, when they drain is hard rock. When I look at the Bangalore, wherever water is there, I have done the studies for the last 2.5 decades. When the water body was there, in the nearby area, groundwater table was 100 to 150 feet. After removal of the lake, in the same region, water table went down to 550 to 600 feet. And today, after 23 years, people have gone down to 1800 feet and there is no water. Which means the water bodies were helping in the groundwater recharge in spite of whatever the terrain we had. So that's where and some of the pocket, we have done the more of concretization on the paved surface. We are not allowing the groundwater recharge. That's why the groundwater table has gone down to 1000 to 1400 feet, especially in Electronic City and the Bangalore, the eastern part of Bangalore. Okay, now let's look at the worth of the lake. When the lake is unpolluted, it supports the livelihood of the local people, the fishermen, washerwomen, the researcher like me, to an extent of 10,500 rupees per day per hectare. When we pollute the lake, the worth of the lake comes down to 20 rupees per day per hectare, and it is this vulnerable section of society get affected with the pollution, and people in the city discharge the sewage and industrial effluent. That's where the lake gets polluted. Now we also try to study the entire Karnataka, because I am in the Karnataka State Wetland Authority. The first meeting they said there are no wetlands in Karnataka. I was very happy with the statement, because that also reflects how arrogant the bureaucracy is. They don't even look at the literature, they don't even study the thing. They misinterpreted the wetland rule of 2010 and 2017, which talks about the management aspect for the Ramsar wetlands of international importance, and it specifically says the respective state government had to come up with the wise management strategies for the smaller wetlands. And these people always say that there are no Ramsar wetland in Karnataka, so 2010 or 2017 rule doesn't apply to the Karnataka. Then of course, as usual, I told them that you have not read the rule, that's why the problem. Then since I am in the National Committee of the Wetland, I told the government, the problem is because of the wetland rule of 2017, the people have not read or not understood. Then I was told there is a Supreme Court rule which says that any water body greater than 2.5 hectare is a wetland. Then I requested them to communicate that to all the state governments. Then by the time the Karnataka government had convened the next meeting, when I went there, they told me that water bodies is 14,000. The success of that one Supreme Court rule, it went up to the thing. And also by the time my students had digitized all the water bodies in Karnataka, and we had done the quantification of the services, and then we came to know what is the worth of, I think I can put this down. Okay. See, the tangible benefit, total ecosystem supply value what we get per year is about 284 billion rupees per year. And if you look at the NPV, considering the TSP of 284 billion rupees per year, for considering the life of the water body as a 50 years, at 3% reduction rate, it becomes 7,320 billion rupees. That shows this is one of the productive ecosystem. Okay, then per hectare values also we calculated. Now, such a good ecosystem, what are the threats? One is unplanned, irresponsible urbanization, and the loss of floodplain. You know, I don't know, the current generation really don't want to put a science into the place. They talk about brand Bangalore. The brand Bangalore, the meeting talks about how to make use of the floodplain for converting that into the infrastructure project, like road building, etc. They are going to create a disaster in the system. Then loss of interconnectivity among the wetland, and the narrowing the drains with concretization, and loss of riparian vegetation. Now when you look at Bangalore, the kind of urbanization that's happening, 68% green cover in 70s, you know, 8% is paved surfaces. Now today 86% is under paved surface, and less than 4% is green. You know, this is the problem of Bangalore. That's where the water scarcity is happening, because the porous surface we converted into the paved surface. We are not allowing the groundwater recharge to happen. 1973, I have the data to relate the loss of porosity with the groundwater table. That clearly establishes there is a correlation between the two. 1973, Garden City, the 68% green cover. 92, with industrialization in Peenya and Koramangala, you see changes happening. Then 2000, you know, Murtis and Wipros invaded Bangalore. In the outskirts, we lost some part of the Bangalore. Then the 2006 intensification, 2009 further intensification. Then if you look at 2021, about 81% was concretized or a paved surface. Then 22 is about 84%. You know, there has been a 1055% increase in the concrete area, and we have lost 79% of the water bodies and 88% of the vegetation. That shows that how much porous surfaces we have lost, and if this trend continues, 98% would be concretized by 2025. Already we have reached a situation like that. You know, there is a less oxygen. In the city, people use oxygen cylinders. Only when you face the crisis, you will understand the severity of the problem. Some of my colleagues who are in Malleshwaram and Rajajinagar, the reason is they are using the oxygen cylinder. And water scarcity is the other issue. See, in the city, when you design, when you manage, it has to be livable. But unfortunately, we are pushing the city towards the unlivable status with putting everything in Bangalore. Okay, that is where I have been telling the government that we need to decongest the city. Those who are following my writing and my utterances in the TV, etc., you will understand how I am driving the message home. Okay, and then I thought that we need to have the Bangalore Urban Information System, which gives the information about the Bangalore. You know, what kind of the infrastructure we have, what is the kind of the land use, land cover. At the end, if the time permits, I will demonstrate this. Okay, now let us try to understand. If you want to have water in the water body, how to manage the water body? There are two ways. Engineers think of dams, concretization, etc. Ecologists think about the watershed management, keeping the landscape porous. That's the thing. I strongly feel both engineering and ecological interventions are required. It is not just the engineering. So now, this gives you an idea about the region in 91 when I was a student and today. The same month, you don't see a water, whereas there's a water. And what you see here is no vegetation. That means the vegetation cover has some role to play in the ecosystem process. Ecosystem process includes the water cycle, biogeochemical cycle, nutrient cycle, etc. So now to understand this, let me take you to the water body. You know, this water body, if you look at this region, you have dense stream network, this side sparse network. But if you look at a historical map, this side also was like this. But why this has become like this is, look at the vegetation cover. Wherever vegetation, forest is there, stream network is there, wherever forest is converted into agricultural land and the barren area, you see we have lost the stream. Now that is how the one side it looks lush green, while the other side is a barren area. Now the implication of this, if you want to understand, just analyze the rainfall data which is available for 123 years. Now you just divide into two time period, 1901 to 1964, 1965 to today. 1901 to 1964, this entire region was receiving the rainfall of 3000 to 4500 millimeter. Now 1965 to today, if you look at this region, continues to receive the rainfall of 3000 to 4500, while this region has started getting the rainfall of 1700 to 1900 millimeter. Now let us try to understand this linkage in a greater detail. See, there is a first order stream, two first order stream join the second order stream and form a tributary. Let us delineate the subbasin. In each subbasin, these are the subbasins on the western side and subbasins on the eastern side. Let us see what is the forest cover and the rainfall. Now, on the eastern side, you will see the forest cover is 30%, rainfall is 1776, while here forest cover is on the western side, forest cover is 65%, rainfall is 4800, or the forest cover is 60%, rainfall is 4400. You might say that this region may be rain shadow region. The entire region is a rain catching region. This is the orographic precipitation. There is no change in the type of the rainfall. But with the time, we see this decline and it establishes the relationship between the forest cover and the rainfall. Now, whatever the rainfall quantity, how much water will be there in your well or in the water body, that decides your fate. For example, Karnataka, some places receive the rain as high as 4000 to 5000, but there is a water scarcity during summer. But Rajasthan receives 400 millimeter, but there is no water scarcity in summer. That is purely a management. You know, mismanagement is our problem. Now, to understand that water availability, we did a study in various catchments. One catchment dominated by native species forest, other one urbanization, another one with the monoculture plantation. Then replicates of this we consider. We put the sensors in the underlying layer. When it rains, you know, if it is covered with a native species forest, the soil is porous or permeable. That's what Professor Timmegoda also was mentioning. It has an organic content, etc. It makes the soil porous, and because of the microorganism action, it has a low bulk density and the porosity is high. Then water infilters. This is the saturated zone. It fills. Then the Vado zone. Then after filling this zone, then only you will see water flowing in the stream or a river or the lake. Now you might ask, what is the use of this? You have 4 months, right? You have the water in the lake because of the 4 months. Then after 4 months, the water that is here will move laterally to the lake or the water body. You have 4 months. During summer, the water that is stored here comes to the river or stream for the next 4 months, which we call it as a base flow. Because of that 12 months, water is there. If you take urban area, nothing goes inside, like urbanites. Then because of that, there is a water crisis in the region. So now we understood the process mechanism. Okay. Now we also graded the streams as A, B, C, D. A are 12 months, B is 8 months, C is 6 months, D is 4 months water availability. Now when you look at A type of stream, or the water body is A type, which carries the water for 12 months, provided the catchment has the vegetation cover more than 60%. When we convert the catchment into monoculture plantation of rubber, acacia, or eucalyptus, it becomes either B or C. That means water is only available for 8 to 6 months. When we degrade the catchment, less than 30% forest cover, you have the water in the water body only during the monsoon. Okay. To summarize what I said so far, this is the region, you have 12 months water, this is 8 months, this is 6 months, this is 4 months. Just overlay the forest cover. Wherever forest of native species is there, you have 12 months water. Depending on the extension or the fragmentation, you have 8 to 6 months. That means it also shows how much intrusion of the monoculture plantations happen. Where the forest is less than 30%, you have only 4 months of water. We also did a quantification of water for the demand for the agriculture, etc. You see in this region, forest cover is high, but demand for water is also higher. So, but there is sufficient water available. The green is higher than the demand. Whereas here, In the name of development, we degraded the catchment. The demand is there, but there is no source. So now the development, should we remove the forest and do the development? Didn't we see the development there in the greenery? That's the first question. Now let us look at the livelihood of the people. In this region, since the water is available throughout the year, people grow multiple crop or a cash crop. Their earning is 1,54,000 rupees per acre per year. Whereas in this region, 4 to 6 months, they grow only one crop. Their earning is about 32,000 rupees per acre per year. Okay. Other interesting thing is, we looked at the yield of the crop. Here, because pollinators are abundant and diverse, pollinators like the honeybees, butterflies, etc. are abundant and diverse, pollination is efficient. When pollination is efficient, yield of the crop is higher. Here, yield of the paddy is about 12 to 18 quintal per acre, whereas yield of the crop here paddy is about 6 to 8 quintal per acre. Now, the government of India, Prime Minister especially, talks about doubling the income of the farmer. My just advice is maintain the ecosystem integrity. The nature gives the resources. He need not do anything. The farmers will get higher yield. Our honeybees will do the job. Whereas if we degrade in the name of development, only looters get the benefit. Okay, this is what we published in the current science. Those who are interested can go through that article in the current science in the May issue of 2020. Okay, now let us look at the other biodiversity aspect. You see these dots indicate the various animals in the region because all require water. They are there where water is there throughout the year. Now in the region where there is no water during the post-monsoon, I saw only two-legged animals hanging around there. So that shows the difference between 2 and 4-legged animals. Then we also described the 2 new species of fish. These fish species occur in the Sharavati river, where there is a water throughout the year. This fish has a medicinal property. It is used for the asthma, curing asthma or bronchitis. I thought that okay, this medicinal thing has a thing, I should culture it in the lab and see that whether I can become a billionaire. But the poor fellow, they didn't give the medicinal property when I cultured it in my lab. Which says that if you want medicinal property, it should be in their habitat. If that is the habitat, the water should be there throughout the year. For the water to be there, surrounding catchment should have the forest. So this is what we need to understand. Now with the warming of the earth, we all know the earth will not have the water. That is what is the prediction. That's what I strongly believe. That means no humans can survive on the earth however intelligent we are, or without intelligence, artificial intelligence also we will not succeed. Now let us see how the organism manage. For example, frogs, we call them as an amphibian. Why do we call them amphibian? Because it has 2 stages in the life cycle. First stage is a juvenile stage, the juvenile stage which is in the water, the tadpole stage. The next stage is adult stage which is on the land. Now, juvenile stage, if there is no water, then the tadpole cannot survive. In such a case, frog cannot survive. We come across one species of Philatus leucorrhina. It bypasses the tadpole stage itself. If the tadpole stage is there, then only you require water. That means this animal has learned how to get adapted to a situation in the case of water crisis. We got that fertilized egg to the lab, we monitored for 14 months, we saw the younger ones emerging out. That shows that animals have learned how to get adapted, okay, which is impossible with us. Okay, understanding these linkages, we protected, our elders protected patch of forest and they called it as Devara Kadu or sacred forest or Kadu or Khan or even Rai. Rai in the Goa and Maharashtra they call it Devara. They thought that if the forest is there, there would be water in the well so that children can run the show. That was the thing. But unfortunately, people are converting that forest into the idle land and concretizing it. That means the moment we lose this ecological integrity and convert that into this, it is of no use. The water retention won't happen. To summarize what I said, as long as Lord Shiva has the head covered with a hair, he will retain the water. I'll put it in simpler words. As long as the Mother Earth is covered with a green saree of native species, she will retain the water for 12 months. When we convert the saree into synthetic saree of rubber or acacia, eucalyptus or coffee, she will retain the water for 6 to 8 months. When we degrade the catchment with a forest cover less than 30%, she will not give the water for us. Okay. If you want to understand the sustainability, let us learn this from the indigenous people. This lady is from Professor Naik's village. So I learned sustainability from her. You know, that lady must be 60 plus. At that age, she goes under the water, spends almost 4 to 5 minutes to collect a bucket full of bivalve. She won't come back to the same place again to collect the second bucket. You know, when we asked her why she doesn't do it, she said, I have kept the resources for tomorrow. Today, I earn 300 by selling this bucket of bivalves. So that is enough to run my family for today. For tomorrow, I will do it. For my children, they have to earn it. Not I don't want to give the money. See, that is the sustainability. Sustenance of resource happens only when we do not do the over exploitation. But what we Bangaloreans do, suppose if you become a prime minister, we think of grandchildren, great-grandchildren, unborn great-great-grandchildren. That is where we amass the wealth and we try to loot the resources. Okay. Now, when you talk about any project, you know, it should be environmentally friendly. Why I am using this example is so that you will remember in a long time. That's where I gave some example. I have nothing against any prime minister. Okay. So this train connectivity from Kerala to Mumbai. See, the farmers and fishermen have lost their livelihood. That is how we should design the project with minimal damage to the local livelihood. When we do that, I would say that we have maintained the sustainability. That's how I always do it. I don't allow people exploiting the resources. Okay, if we don't follow this thing, what will happen? Let us learn from the literatures. You know, Easter Island, people thought that they have land, they went on expanding the land, like Bangalore became Broad Bangalore, Brahaspati's Bangalore, it is becoming now. The implication is that Easter Island, because of the water crisis, people have to vacate the island. Similar thing happened in the last leg of Vijayanagara kingdom, failed because of the water crisis. That's what we need to understand before we overload the particular region in the name of development as we are doing in the Bangalore. Okay, now this gives a glimpse of the water bodies we have left. We have lost over a period of time, 79% of water bodies we have lost. Okay, the red ones are the one which we have lost. Now, implication of that, losing the environment, temperature which was 21 degrees in 92 became 24 degrees in 2000, and 2010 it became 28 degrees, and today in the month of March itself it is 34-35 degrees. In summer it might go up to 40. Now, if you want to understand further, let us go from the center of the city in a direction. You see, wherever water bodies are there, temperature is 2 degrees lower. Even the path also temperature is 2 degrees lower. Even my campus, the vegetation cover is quite good. That's when we could do good science. Okay, good environment has to be there. Then only the good work can happen. Okay. Now, when we lose these water bodies, the region become prone to the floods. The same region also face the drought. You know, the where flood happened today, you see the drought situation in the same location. That is because of the removal of the water bodies, etc. Okay. Now, our water bodies are interconnected. Water from one lake used to move to the other. That's where the water treatment used to happen and groundwater recharge used to happen. Removal of the water body, that region became prone to the floods. Now, when I look at the interconnectivity among the lake, you see interconnectivity is lost in the city. Because of that, many pockets are prone to the flood. These are all the man-made disaster in the region. It is nothing to do with the climate. Of course, climatic regime is changing, which will aggravate the situation. Okay. Then the other part, when you look at the water body, people dump the solid waste, okay, and vacuum apartments will come, and we generously load the lake with the liquid waste, untreated liquid waste. And when the water body is loaded with the nutrient-rich, the wastewater, it will look like this. This shows the nutrient enrichment. Water body which is like this, you know, that shows the pristine status. Suppose if you do the measurement of dissolved oxygen, at the inlet you might get 0 because sewage is entering. But at the outlet it will go up as high as 10 or 12, which shows the treatment happening there. When you cover this water body with a green vegetation, dissolved oxygen at the outlet is lower. That shows that lake is failing. And because of the growth of invasive species, it doesn't allow the sunlight to penetrate. the algae does not grow. Since algae is not growing, then the collapse of the entire food chain, you see the fish productivity comes down. That's why the resources value comes down to 20 rupees per hectare per day from 10,500 rupees per hectare per day. And these are the glories of Bangalore. Frothing lake, fire. This shows the contamination of the industrial wastewater, and this shows that we are using the detergent which are rich in phosphate. The phosphate is banned in countries like Canada and European countries. I also did a study to show that the cause of the frothing is because of the phosphorus. And I had a dialogue with the industry like Hindustan, the Unilever, etc. They accept. They say that they prepare the detergent without phosphate for exporting. While for Indian market, they are dumping with the phosphate because it works out cheaper. That is where what they are doing here, the water is getting contaminated. Frothing of a lake is similar to frothing of the human being, which shows that the poor state of health of the lake. Now, what is the solution for that? You need to treat the wastewater. What is the solution? The bureaucrats of 21st century think about it. Because the media was talking about the froth coming to the road, so they thought that just putting the barricade will solve the problem. I wrote an article saying this is the most ad hoc decision which will not solve the problem. Maybe you have succeeded for 4 days. At that time people criticized me. As I predicted, the froth crossed over on the 4th day or 5th day to tell that. But later I realized, when I talked to the officials involved, they said, sir, you do not understand the money matter. We have spent 2 crores. 40% or 45% of 2 crores is a big amount. That is the problem. So unless we remove that component in our management, we will have a poor status of the system. Well, then if you close your eyes, what will happen? We are silently paying the price for this mismanagement. The fish in the lake has higher load of pollutant. People use this water for growing the vegetables in the vicinity of the lake. They grow pudina, spinach, radish, etc. And when I analyze that, all these food items, milk, fish, as well as this vegetable, all of them had heavy metal. That is the reason for the increasing kidney failure and the cancer in the city. Bangalore is #1 city as far as cancer is concerned. Kidney failure, which was 1 in 1 lakh about 12 years back, today is 1 in 5,000. That's where the dialysis unit they are installing in almost all wards. In fact, when they install it, you will see a page full of advertisement, full-length advertisement saying that dialysis unit is inaugurated by so and so. Which for people like me, it means that fellow is responsible for following health standard in that ward. That is the thing. It is so worrying. I work with the school children in the Karnataka. I have a network of 42 institutions. When I go to the schools in one of the peri-urban area, last year, 8th standard boy had lost both the kidney. And in another school when I went, the LKG girl child had lost 1 kidney. In the same school, the 8th standard girl child had lost both the kidney. After 8 months when I visited the same school and asked the principal, where is that girl, I want to talk to her. He said the girl is no more. See, we are losing the youth. Youth are the asset of the nation. Because of the poor environmental quality, we are losing the youth. The critics might feel satisfied by saying that when their children face this crisis, they will understand the implication of that. Okay. So now, I thought that we need to rejuvenate the lake. I came up with a proposal to how to rejuvenate the lake. Then of course the local activists took it to the Supreme Court. In the history of the country, for the first time, 500 crore is penalized to the government of Karnataka and asked that money has to be kept in the escrow account so that the lake rejuvenation happens. They constitute a committee. I was in a member of the committee. One other thing I had told is rejuvenation means you need to decontaminate the lake and you need to arrest the contaminant coming into the lake. To decontaminate the lake, that means the silt which is there in the lake, you have to remove it. For that, we did a detailed study of the silt. What is the quantity of silt and what is the quality of the silt. See, if you look at, when you have the current depth with the historical depth, when you overlay one above the other, the difference gives the quantity of silt that is accumulated in the soil. When I quantified, I get a value of 11 million cubic meter. The moment I said that 11 million cubic meter has to be removed from the lake, there are some experts in Bangalore, they came up with the theory saying that TVR is going to choke the city with the trucks and all by desilting. We should not allow the desilting to happen. Then I looked at the credential of those people. Those are all bunch of fellows who are promoting enzyme. They didn't want the desilting, they want to put miracle liquid and get the recurring money every month and survive with that, which I didn't allow that to happen, and we took up the desilting. What I did is, I did the detailed study of the silt quality for both Bangalore and Vartur. Bangalore has some problem, but Vartur didn't have any quality issue. Then I just talked to the villagers in the Vartur. I told them, when I had a meeting with the people, because people like me so much and respect me because I have been with them for the last 2.5 decades. They know that how I think about them. When I told them that you take this nutrient, which has no contaminant, they said that, sir, you give your report, with that we will go ahead. 400 acres, I asked the government to supply the seed to them, to the farmers at no cost. Some of the babus didn't want that proposal. They said, why should we give it freely? I said, otherwise you have to transport 14 kilometers, you will spend on petrol. Instead of that, you give it freely here. So then after 3 months when I visited the farmer, this is the kind of the bumper crop they have got. Each farmer tells me they got the additional money of 1.5 lakh rupees per acre for the vegetable they have grown. In a year they grow 3 times. 1.5 lakh is the additional revenue what they have got. You can imagine in a year they get about 4.5 lakh, 1.5 into 3. See, this is the kind of thing. This is the model which was there in the country. We were desilting, and that silt was used in agricultural land. In the process of desilting, we were allowing the groundwater recharge, and also the nutrient-rich silt used to go to the agricultural land. When the colonial rulers came to the country, they just collapsed all this system. They talked about top-down projects with pipes, etc. So, which benefited them. And of course, after independence, the colonial mindset continues in the system. So this is the team which did the quantification of water quality, silt, etc. For the first time, even the army people were with me. There, of course, in many of my projects, the defense people also joined hands. Okay. Then, my last part of my talk. What are the intervention as a researcher I have done? One is the wastewater treatment. I thought what I have learned, I should give it to the people. Then rainwater management. Then creating water body and mini forest in each area. Now I will demonstrate each of these. And the powerful weapon is the interaction with the school and college students. When I sensitize youth with this environmental knowledge, none of them will become irresponsible fellows. They are becoming responsible. Sensible youth become responsible. When they become responsible, they become good planners and decision makers. Now, for example, what is the first intervention? Wastewater treatment. This is a case of Jakkur Lake. Jakkur Lake surrounding area, 25 wells were there. All of them had nitrate. Nitrate is a carcinogen which introduces cancer. Then, why nitrate? Because people are letting untreated sewage which had N, Sarajanaka and P, Ranjan. So now that acid moved towards the bore well, it oxidized, nitrate is formed. Now, then I pushed the government to rejuvenate the lake. This is in 2005. 2010, the lake was rejuvenated. At that time, I was in the committee. And government put me in the committee. Yellappa Reddy was also the chairman of the committee. But government said that we will give money which is sufficient for secondary treatment plant. Water treatment, the 3 levels, primary, secondary and tertiary treatment. Secondary treatment will remove only the large particle and chemical ion. But my problem is nitrate is because of the nutrient, N and P. That is not getting removed with the secondary treatment plant. But that means what is the intended purpose of the rejuvenation, we were not meeting with the secondary treatment plant. But the bureaucrats want to spend the money and they are happy with that. As long as they sign at the end of the page with the thing, money spent, that they are happy. Then what I did is I integrated constructed wetland and algal pond. Constructed wetland is nothing but the bed of plant, the marsh-loving plant which takes up the nutrient, and algae removes. This takes away large amount of N and small amount of P, while the algae removes the large amount of P and small amount of N. Integration of that, we saw about 80 to 85% nutrient removal happen. Last 10 or 12 years, my students have monitored that. Report is available online for the people to this one. Now, When you look at Bangalore, because we are facing a severe water crisis, what is the solution that people are? The city receives the rainfall of 700 to 850 millimeter. If I quantify that, I have 15 TMC of water. The best option for Bangalore is rainwater harvesting. If you do the rooftop harvesting, you will have additional 3 to 4 months of water at home. The next best option, through the lake. Rejuvenate the lake, retain the rainwater in the lake so that your groundwater recharge happens. Then the second option, the city of Bangalore requires 18 TMC of water. That means 70% of the water required by us is met by the rainwater harvesting. Then if you treat the 18 TMC of wastewater that is generated, you have 16 TMC of treated water. That means 15 TMC because of rainwater harvesting, 16 TMC because of the treatment of the wastewater. We have 31 TMC of water per year. 31 TMC is the long-term sustainable option. It is not this year's thing. For that, I have 5R formula. First is people have to be responsible. Then they will rejuvenate the lake so that I can retain the rainwater, and they will allow me to do the recycling, the reuse of wastewater. Otherwise, some fellows ask me, why do you make me to drink sewage? I always tell them, today we are getting water from Kaveri. Have you seen Kaveri? Mysore city sewage is generously fed into the Kaveri. You are drinking the sewage of Mysoreans. Instead of that, you can drink your own sewage. So that is the, okay. Well, now other interventions. This is the water body I created in the campus, 2008. Even today there is a water. Every year 10 lakh liters of water gets stored. It is used by my students to do the biofuel research. In addition to that, I have this otter. I don't know from where it has come, but it is there. That shows the health of the ecosystem. And when that otter is there, it's a voracious eater of fish. I don't feed that. But I noticed when we did a biodiversity study, the required food in the form of fish is available in the water body. See, that's the beauty of the nature. Nature won't deny anybody the resource as long as we facilitate the thing. The message here is, I stay at the campus. My family requires 500 liters a day. We are talking about water demand. 500 liters a day. That means about 1.2 lakh liters I require. I am putting back 10 times that. If every citizen on the globe does it, there is no water scarcity or poverty on the earth. That's what we need to do it. And when I meet people, of course people meet me when they are in distress, like this gentleman. He is a saint from Mudbidre. So because 2014 and 15 was a water crisis, when I was traveling in 2016 in Bangalore, he sought for appointment with me. When I talked to him, he said that the water crisis. I gave him two options. One is creating the water body, other one is desilting 32 lakes that are there in Mudbidre. He said 32 lake desilting is impossible task for me. Then I told him at least 2 lakes you do it because you are a spiritual leader. Then remaining 30, I will see it happens. As I predicted, he did 2 lakes, remaining 30 were desilted by local people. In the meanwhile, in his 12 acres area, I gave a proposal to create a water body, identify lowest thing and what is the water he can store, and also what kind of plant to be planted in the region. That model, I submitted this proposal to him in the May first week. Within 15 days, he creates the water body, and then June 5th when it rains, he shared this photograph. And the success is because of the youth. When youth are responsible, this is the kind of output we get. So, and when I see this, all are young, less than 40, 20 to 40 or 20 to 40 is a beautiful age. The wonders can happen. So when I saw this gentleman, CEO of the IISC, I felt that I should make him to create it because he had more money. So I made him to create a water body in campus which stores 25 lakh liters of water every year. And also they took up the planting of native species in the catchment. Now within a year when I visited as a guest faculty, as a visiting professor there, you see the greenery with abundant resources, smile on our face. To put it on the lighter side, this gentleman, when he met me, before creating this, he was alone, bachelor. I think most of you have crossed the limit, so that's why you don't appreciate, okay. But after creating water body, he got a partner within a 6 months. Unlike Bangaloreans who search for partner in the, all faceless fellows search for partners in the Facebook, then think about filing the divorce paper in the next month. Whereas this is a sustainable thing. Last 4 years with the 2 children, wonderful family life. And even when I go there, they don't allow me to stay in the guest house. She wants me to stay in the bungalow. Can it happen in Bangalore? When I go and knock at the home, people from inside say, I am not at home. So that is the thing. So the message here is, when science, society, culture and spirituality join hands, you will see the sustainability. What I convey to hundreds of people, these gentlemen conveys it to millions of people. That's where this integration has to happen. Okay? Then, God's problem also we try to solve. People think that scientists don't believe in gods. Okay? That's partly true, not completely true. Because I've seen scientists hanging around in the temple also. But in the same people will tell we don't believe in that. That's a different issue. Gokarna temple, where Professor Gopal Naik come from, the Punya, this Poti Tirtha is there. Local youth wrote to me that is thinking, please do something. Okay, I told, now the invitation has come, there is no problem for me to travel. Myself, my student, we went, we collected a water sample. Water sample showed organic content. Organic content, because of the ritual, people leave all those organic material, rice balls, banana, flowers into the water body, and which decay, and because of that smell is coming, hydrogen sulfide. I can stop anything in the country, not these practices. So what I did is, I had a meeting with the priest, very powerful fellows. Very difficult to convince them. I told them that, you continue to allow this. Okay, I have no problem, but I have one condition. I will identify a region, only that location there, this research should happen, and then when that is happened, you should chant and collect the 25 rupees per family. My agenda is, the model is to collect 25 rupees a family. In the process, every month I have 20 to 25,000 rupees, which is given to NGO. NGO has hired 3 youth. Their job is to do the DVD and take out excess rice ball from here and feed it to the cattle in the Goshala. Even Gorakshas will be happy. Okay? Now, in the meanwhile, I introduced the fish which also eats rice. Any leftover rice is there, it should be taken care. For the last 4 years, water body looks like this. This water was used for puja in the Gokarna temple, Shiva temple, and opposite Ganesha is there. Both of them were taking contaminated water. Now they are getting clean water bath. Abhisheka is happening of this. Naturally, God must be happy. Do you agree? You look at my profile, last 5 years, you will understand that. Okay? Then, when people leave us, we don't cry. What we do is, we make the children to come to the campus and do the planting. One of my colleagues passed away at 42 years because of overuse of mobile. I used to tell him, but still. Then, on the 14th day, I got the children to plant 500 saplings of the ficus species. Ficus like Ficus religiosa, the people tree, etc. 5 varieties we planted. Every year when children come and do the watering, 100 children, the maintenance also happens partly. And children really care. Okay? Come to my campus, you will see this climber. I was fascinated by this when I was a student. I said I should have it in Bangalore. This is from Uttarakhand. I brought this pot to the campus. Out of 14 seeds, 7 seeds I have kept in the lab, 7 I have planted in 7 locations. Out of 7 locations, only 1 location it has survived, that is next to the building where I worked for 2 decades. That means even the plants know who will take care. Otherwise, why other 6 places it didn't survive? See, you think that plants don't, only you people can make out all the things. That's not true. Then, in front of this building, I created a mini forest in a 2 hectares area, 49 native species, 500 saplings, in a region infested with pathogen. Today, you go there and see, you get a feel of the rainforest, and you see rich diversity of animals like slender lories and varieties of snakes. More importantly, groundwater, which was 150 feet earlier in 19. Today, I have a 10 feet. When Bangalore doesn't have water, I have water at 10 feet. Don't you think there is a little management makes us to have the water? And temperature is 2 degrees lower. That's what I started my presentation with. Okay? And if you want to understand how these hard rock fellows always tell, no, Bangalore, there's no scope for each other. Come to Saraki Lake. Saraki Lake we rejuvenated 3 years back. Within a year, groundwater table went up by 320 feet. And today you go to that region, the lake is full of water, groundwater table is high. Okay? And the temperature is 2 degrees lower compared to the surrounding area. And that is the model. I want it to be replicated throughout the country. Instead of, we have the subject expertise, we argue with all useless things. Let us replicate the model which is working without much the deliberation. Okay? That's what we communicate to the children. And I also offer a course on environmental management about last 2 decades. 21 sessions I have conducted, so almost a session per year. And one of the events I conduct is the biennial lake symposium. You know that I'm winding up in another 2 minutes. Okay. So the audience is about 1,000 to 1,200. But the important thing is the school children and college students. Today when I saw the kid, I was quite happy. So he was also nodding his head. Okay. So that all the stakeholders, from the minister to the bureaucrats to the students take part. And students do a simple experiment like carbon sequestration in trees or lake mapping, of catchment or the water quality they are trying. The kids come to the lab, assess, and in the rural area the kids do the biodiversity mapping. Though the biodiversity act says that there should be biodiversity registered in each panchayat, we didn't succeed. But when I put the students in 1 year, I got 170 villages biodiversity. That is the power of the youth of today. And if you have any doubt, you can write to me or ask me. And these are my portals where you see my publications. Okay. So I don't use mobile, but still I am in various committees. Okay. The people say that there is a mobile is a must, but I feel that I am more happy than all of them because I don't use mobile. Okay. Then before I end, let me take you to the another 2 slides. Okay. When you look at, my YouTube talks are there, TED talks are there. I had given one at IIM also. So then these are publications. You will see all my publication online. Okay. Aganashni estuary was declared a Ramsar wetland of international importance. I have been fighting with the government and I have been pursuing the Ramsar Secretariat from the 2018 onward. Because we had done 2 decades of research, we know that it meets all the criteria of Ramsar wetland of international importance. So that is what we tried to convince. Then I wrote to the Ramsar Secretariat in 2019. Then of course COVID. Then subsequently I received a communication from Ramsar Secretariat saying that it has to come from the government. Then I talked to the Ministry of Environment, who in turn said it has to be from the state government. Then getting the paper process from the state government was so difficult. It took 2.5 years. But they thought that I will forget. But every meeting I used to ask them what is happening. And also change of PCC have made the difference. Then I found one PCC who is really good has taken over. I just went to his office, talked to him the importance of this. I said, because if you do it, 7,000 families which are in that fisher family, they will get the benefit. See, 7,000 families get the resources worth 1 million rupees per hectare per year in that thing. And 7,000 families get the resources without government support. There is not even 1 paisa is spent. So that's what we highlighted. This is the report which we prepared and shared with the thing. Finally, on 30th January, it was declared the Ramsar wetland of international importance. That is where Professor Gopal Naik from that region he hails from. And that is where I have worked for the last 2.5 decades. So this is my contribution to my appreciation of the local resources, the richness that is there in the region. My agenda is to put sow the seeds of knowledge in this young brain. When we do it, they become successful. And that is the youth I am looking for, so that my country will have more and more the talented youngsters with environmental knowledge. Okay? So when youngsters do a wonderful job, all of us will have smile and happiness. Thank you very much.